Can you hear footsteps on dew-dark grass from a time before cities had names? At dawn on a riverbank, a small band huddles, their spears cold. 10,000 years ago, a child presses seeds into mud, learning from a grandparent who reads the sky for rain. From this simple act, a new rhythm for humanity begins. Far apart, across the Nile and in the high basins of the Andes, people learned to pull food from the earth. Fields tethered families to one place, villages swelled into towns, and a surplus of grain became the first currency of power. With settlement came walls, storage, and a new human puzzle: how to remember, how to tax, and how to rule. In ancient a scribe presses a reed into wet clay, the tablet warm in his palm. Soon after, Hammurabi carves promises and threats into stone for all to see. Writing fixes a debt, law tames a dispute, and metal hardens both the plowshare and the sword. A question arises, one that will echo through the ages. How do you rule strangers you will never meet? The answer is written on the trade winds and desert sands. Caravans haul tin and tales across dry horizons. Sailors master the monsoon winds. These routes link distant towns, turning strangers into uneasy neighbors. For power needs a story, and trade amplifies its reach. From scattered fields, authority now extends to towering thrones. In a crowded hall, a student leans forward, listening. A new kind of teacher is asking deeper questions. In China, Confucius speaks of duty. In India, the Buddha speaks of suffering and release. In Athens, Socrates speaks of the examined life. They argue that true authority is a moral art, and community is a promise we make to each other, not just a matter of bloodline. Today, as algorithms nudge our choices and gene editing promises to heal, we are still wrestling with their essential question: how should ethics guide power? The debates that shaped ancient classrooms now echo in our modern public squares, preparing societies for broader rule and shared values. Along the Nile, officials ink their tallies. By the Mediterranean, assemblies argue the nature of justice. Beside the Yellow River, courts codify custom into law. These classical civilizations refine taxes, field armies, and build temples to the heavens, leaving behind roadbeds, epics, and legal codes that we still walk upon and live by today. But just beyond their horizons, new connections are forming. Roads, winds, and faiths begin to pull these separate worlds into a single restless web. Here the camel bells of the Silk Road answer the horns of ships in the Indian Ocean. A weaver in Samarkand feels the slide of dyed silk, paid for with pepper poured into her palm by a trader from a distant port. The world is widening. These new roads and sea lanes stitch together faiths, tools, and stories. Merchants carry paper and prayer. Sailors spread the compass and the plague. Conquest shatters worlds, while the Renaissance reframes them with daring new perspectives. Then, across the Atlantic, a great exchange mixes foods and microbes, creating new fortunes from sugar and new sorrows from the chains that harvested it. What is our modern life, if not this ancient network, now accelerated and scaled to billions of people? Revolutions ignite factories and new ideas about human rights. Empires collide. World wars scar the face of the earth. Colonies break free, only to be drawn into the anxious alliances of a Cold War. Today, your messages cross oceans in a heartbeat, yet global supply chains can still be broken by a single storm. Artificial intelligence learns from the endless river of our data, while a changing climate binds the fate of every coast to every farm. The pattern, woven through all of history, is both simple and hard. Connection multiplies not only power, but also risk. We inherit both the gains and the grief from these routes we did not choose, and ahead, in our wired, warming world, ordinary voices are demanding a say in where the path leads next. The journey is far from over, and the next turn remains unwritten.